Have you ever heard the sound of your own heartbeat in the dead of night? When the world is fast asleep and everything outside is silent, yet inside, a storm rages on. That storm is your fear. Fear, hidden in your every breath. Fear, settled deep within your soul. And you? Perhaps you no longer even know what you are truly afraid of. The world? Yourself? Or that truth you don't dare to accept? The silent chains. Fear is not something that simply passes by. It is not a storm that comes and goes. Fear is a chain that we, with our own hands, wrap around our spirit. A child is born fearless. Watch a child, how curiously they touch new things, how they stretch their hand toward fire, how they want to explore everything without hesitation. But then, as we grow, fear starts to seep in. First, we fear our parents' anger, then failure, then the judgment of the world, and finally, ourselves. One by one, these fears silence us, bury our dreams, steal the light from our eyes. And we begin to believe that this is just life. Why do we fear? Is fear our enemy? Or is it that ancient companion that once kept our ancestors alive? Think about it. When humans lived in the wild, fear meant the difference between life and death. It saved them from predators. But today, that same fear doesn't keep us alive, it stops us from truly living. It's no longer the fear of a wild animal. It's the fear of failure. The fear of rejection. The fear of loneliness. Scientists tell us fear lives in a small part of our brain, the amygdala. But philosophers say, fear lives in our soul. Socrates once said, "Fear not death, but the unlived life." And yet, most of us live with fear, not with life. The faces of fear. Fear wears many masks. Sometimes it looks like silence, sometimes like anger, sometimes like false confidence, all to hide the trembling soul within. Look around you. How many people appear strong on the outside but are prisoners of fear on the inside? The fear of failure stops us from starting. The fear of heartbreak stops us from loving. The fear of judgment stops us from speaking our truth. But the greatest fear of all, the fear of facing ourselves. Because deep down, we know, no one can judge us as harshly as we judge ourselves. When fear becomes a habit. The biggest deception fear gives us is this, that it promises safety. It whispers. Stay quiet, stay safe. Don't take risks. And we listen. We abandon our dreams. We choose the easy path. We try to avoid pain, and in doing so, we also avoid joy. Over time, fear stops being just a feeling. It becomes our identity. Jiddu Krishnamurti said, "It is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society." And that's what we do, we adjust. We accept our fear because that's what everyone does. Fear passed down generations. Fear is not just ours. It is inherited. We learn it from our parents' worried eyes, from a grandmother's warnings, from a teacher's scolding. And now, maybe we're passing that same fear onto someone else. But think for a moment, what if we stop? What if we become the one who breaks this chain? The first step toward freedom. The bitter truth is, fear can never be erased. But it can be faced. We can choose to live alongside it and still take action. When you feel fear, pause. Ask yourself, what am I really afraid of? Is it failure? Or people's opinions? Do I fear the loss itself? Or the loneliness that comes after? Remember this, fear has power only when we don't question it. The moment you start questioning it, its power begins to fade. Mark Twain said, Courage is resistance to fear, mastery of fear, not absence of fear. Fear's final gift. What if fear isn't our enemy at all? What if it's our guide? What if it points us to the very path we are meant to walk? That truth you avoid, that dream you delay, that pain you suppress, fear isn't there to stop you. It's there to show you where to begin. A final thought. The next time you feel the thudding of fear in your chest, stop. Don't run. Face it. Look at it and say, "You've scared me long enough. Now I will learn from you. Now I will rise above you." Because the moment you truly see your fear, that is the moment you take your first step toward victory.